first we read the play. We all people read the play and we auditioned for it. And one person doing it very amazingly, and that was Shashwat of course. And when we started, it was more like we were a little dicey that how people will accept this play, or we should we make it audience friendly or should we make it how it is written. So we were a little confused about it and we started working on it. And I still remember the show and the pauses. The most important part in this play, I guess, is pauses and to think, and after thinking you should react, not just you should not wait for your cue to just deliver your lines. And that was there in this play, and I was so happy when we did this play because it has a very special kind of theater value as well, because it's a very beautiful tragedy of course, and still people enjoyed it, people laugh on a certain points. And I still remember Shashwat's last monologue. It was amazing. When we did it, it was totally different, and when we did a show, it was totally different. Slowly, how we made our Laura do it correctly. That jacket thing, you remember? we like we spent 3 days just on a simple jacket composition. So it was amazing for me. And yes, I guess I trust in process, and we what we gave in rehearsals, we got back in show. So yeah.
So when we decided to do the Glass Menagerie, there were a lot of ideas, creative ideas which were popping up amongst the direction team. However, to me as a director, it always struck, an idea always struck whenever I used to go off to sleep, as in like this 10 minutes before I would get into my deep sleep, I would get visuals of how I am looking at the play that I am going to do. And that is what happened with Glass Menagerie too, because Menagerie was a play which was written by Tennessee Williams in a manner that the whole setting, the whole direction was already there. We did not need to do anything major in the play in terms of direction. However, we tried to make this a play of more than 4 actors. We inculcated this whole idea of ghost walking, of gentleman walkers, and that idea popped when, as I said, when I was sleeping, and it just felt like, yeah, to show people what a memory looks like. We created these gentlemen walkers walking in a set pattern, or walking randomly, coming in dancing and having a drink in their hand, and again going back to random walk, going into that infinity loop. That walk described or had meanings attached to it altogether. The audience had a different perception to it. So when it came to direction, the work became easier because it just happened overnight. I was there, I was sleeping, I saw the whole play running in my head, and the next day we started working on it. Then it comes to the characters, how the search of actors during the Glass Menagerie happened. We held auditions. We hold auditions of our plays every 3 to 4 months whenever we do a play. And even for the Glass Menagerie, we had the same procedure where the actors came in and they auditioned. And while the auditions were happening, we knew we had found our Tom Wingfield. It was played very beautifully by Shashwat. Then we had Amanda. Amanda was a very strong character in the whole play because she was the one who was that rod, that standing thick rod in the whole play. The play around whom everything was surrounded, not just Tom. So when auditions for Amanda were going on, it was very difficult to figure out who would do the best, because every time we would come across somebody, we could there were pros to it, but there were so many flaws that we found out that it was difficult to cast an Amanda. And then suddenly Pooja happened, and Pooja came across the auditions, and she portrayed a different kind of Amanda altogether for us. And I think that was the moment when we realized that nobody other than Pooja could follow the character as religiously as it required. And there was a whole procedure, even when Tom and Amanda had to show that chemistry on stage, with their fighting, with their shouting, with them being the mother and son duo. Because mother and son duos are considered to be very pious, very attached to a level that nobody could wreck it. But in the play, in the Wingfield family, Williams showed a very different form of relationship between Tom and Amanda. And to develop that, we would send Shashwat and Pooja in my office, and they would be locked in the office for, let's say, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, where they have to talk to each other as characters. And when they're doing that, they're supposed to love each other, they're supposed to fight each other, they are just supposed to be their characters. And that exercise helped both of them so much at a level that every time they would perform, they knew that they were performing as a mother and son and not as actors or different people altogether. The similar thing with Laura as well. I was at a poetry meeting, and that is where I heard Gungun speak for the first time. And when I heard Gungun's voice, the way she was addressing the meeting, and the way she was talking to us, I realized, she had that innocence, those qualities of Laura that I had been looking out in several actors. But when I met Gungun, I asked her to come and audition. I asked Gungun, we have a role, Laura Wingfield. Do you want to come and audition? Which she agreed, and the next day I had her. Now, Gungun as a person is a very happy person. She spreads that positive aura all around her. But Laura Wingfield is complete opposite. She is shy. She cannot talk to people. She has a limp. She is a very difficult human being altogether, and she has a lot of depth in her. With Laura Wingfield, we had to do the same. We had to transform Gungun from a happy person to a Laura with a shy personality. So that process was also long and tedious because a lot of character drilling happened with her. Even with her, we had to send her into a room with Shashwat to develop that chemistry of a brother and sister duo. She already had that with Amanda. It came out naturally. But when it came with Tom, Laura and Tom were actually made to sit in a room, and they were asked to talk to each other as brother and sisters. So, the Glass Menagerie overall was a very beautiful play. Fairly simple to understand, and it just would trigger all those emotions that we had in the direction team, that I personally had as a human being. So overall it was a really good process